Hey everybody, this is Luminous and AI 2000 from Team Dignitas, and we are going to be doing not exactly a patch lock analysis, but recently we did have a patch change of adding 4 new heroes into the competitive pool, or the captain's mode. So that is going to be Abaddon, Troll Warlord, Elder Titan, or Tauren Chieftain for the Dota 1 name, and last but not least, Centaur War Chief. We're going to kind of talk about how this kind of mean for the Dota 2 metagame moving forward, if it means anything at all. So AI, if you have any particular hero you want to talk about, jump in there and talk about that one.
Alright, well, I think all four of them are probably competitively viable, which is interesting for adding CM because usually when we add heroes to CM, you get like one or two that are competitively viable as far as previous patches have gone. Um,
Well, let me ask you then, who do you think is the most competitively viable out of the 4? And we could talk about that one.
I think that Tro is amazingly stupid, so he's probably the most viable.
All right, so let's talk about Troll Warlord a little bit. Now, before he was kind of nerfed, his ultimate basically had a 20-second cooldown, and not only does it increase his own attack speed, increase his allies' attack speed.
It had a 10-second duration too, which was absurd.
Right. And the biggest factor I think that teams could abuse with it is split pushing. You could have troll jungling, you have your crystal maiden or whatever support split pushing another lane, and then you have other heroes raxing and doing other stuff in other lanes. Do you think that is the biggest application of that hero, or are there going to be more?
I mean, I don't think his ultimate's really necessarily just for split pushing. It's really good just in a team fight, or farming, or for taking Roshan, or for pretty much everything. Like, you can push with it. It does everything. And it's pretty absurd when your Enchantress does twice the DPS of the enemy carry too. So if
Okay.
you like pick that hero with an Enchantress or like a support that does right click damage, then your team's damage output is just insane with no items too.
Okay, so you kind of mentioned about the 20-second cooldown earlier before the nerf version, and then a 10-second duration. That was a 50%-ish kind of uptime, if you will. And now Battle Trance has been nerfed to a 30-second cooldown and then a 7-second duration. So by comparison, it's a 33% uptime. Is that nerf enough, do you feel like, or do you think Battle Trance is still too OP in a sense?
Well, the uptime's actually like a bit under 25%, so they nerfed it by half in that sense. But the
Wait.
spells,
It's duration
yeah.
7 seconds. Okay, I will not question your math anymore. Continue.
So in that sense, the spell's been nerfed by half, but it's still incredibly powerful just because you get that burst damage. I mean, the original version of the ultimate, it lasted longer on Troll and less on allies. Maybe that was a bit more fair. I think Icefrog sort of wants to keep the hero unique in the sense that he attacks really fast. Like all his stuff is geared to attack really fast, or his third skill in his ultimate. So he probably won't look to nerf that, and he'll nerf other aspects of the hero if the hero needs nerfing. I mean, we haven't really seen many tournaments with Troll in it, so it's still hard to judge.
Okay, so the other big thing that I guess trolls suffer in a nerf, quote unquote, in a sense, is I'm not sure how much you play this hero, but whirling access on melee now has a cast point, which actually makes a pretty big deal in terms of laning, whether grabbing those early game kills or using it to harass. We've seen many times in the past when you add a cast point to a spell that previously didn't have cast point, like Leshrax's Diabolic Edict, or basically making a cast point worse, such as Naga's Ensnare or all of her ability by just making her cast point worse, the hero significantly gets weaker. So, do you think whirling axis? Have you kind of missed a couple kills in pub games or whatnot by having the whirling axis nerfed, or do you think this is not a big deal?
I don't think it's as big a deal as someone like Leshrac, just because Leshrak's cast animation is like zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.6 or something,
Okay.
and Troll's is like zero point 0.2 or zero point 0.3. I actually should check the numbers on that. Like having a cast point is important. It helps a little bit, but the skill is still amazingly powerful.
Yeah, we're talking about burst damage. We're talking about blind and the ability to kind of toggle between two range and melee
I
form.
mean, it's also incredibly strong for farming because it's only 50 mana for 275 damage. That's like better efficiency than a Shadow Fiend raise, which you don't really see very much.
Let's actually talk about his mana pool a bit, because you talked about the low mana cost of rolling access, and more importantly, Battle Trance does have a kind of expensive mana cost as well. 75 isn't too much per se, but for Troll Warlord, who does have a fairly weak mana pool, it is quite a bit. So do you think we might see Troll perhaps picking up a little bit different items, different from your standard agility carries, or are we going to see Troll pair with something like Crystal Maiden or even Keeper of Light? Or how do you think the lineup and the item will kind of adjust for his mana intensity?
Well, one thing I want to mention is that Tro can be basically played in any lane. He's actually a very strong solo mid. He dumps on a lot of heroes, like very hard. So if you just have a bottle and a Bastarding, that's more than enough regen for him.
So mana is not an issue. At the same time, it does help you Roshan, it does help you jungle, it does help you attack and do damage on the towers.
Jungling,
So,
I don't know how much faster it is compared to stats, because I think stats you get higher damage, better whirling axes, and the attack speed's nice, because jungling does small creeps too.
fair enough.
And his first skill is actually not the best early on too, I think, because leveling it up for the bash early on isn't worth it, I feel. And you do want it max by the time you're actually running at people and hitting them, but that's only really once you have your BKB and stuff.
Now, I know a lot of you guys haven't been practicing this hero, at least in competitive games just yet, but give me a quick breakdown of his 1 to 16 skill build.
I mean, I would definitely take Berserker Rage at level 1. Plus 15% damage, plus 100 HP, plus 20 move speed. That's just absurd for a level 1 skill. He actually has one of the higher base damages if you just go melee form. I think it's like something like 68, 69 if with a PMS mid once you use the melee form, which is absurdly high. Like, and his animation's basically instant. Like, you go beside a creep, you right click it, it's just dead. You don't feel any delay like you would on like a DK attack or anything. So you want to take that at level 1. You definitely want to take your whirling axes at level 2 and 3, I think, because the nuke's just too good. It's a double nuke because you can switch forms while casting it. A slow, a mischance. It's like everything. It's AoE, it's low mana, and he can deal 175. Wait, he can do 200 damage at level 2 with a slow and a mischance. Like, that makes him incredibly strong in tri-lanes. I'd take his third skill at level 4, and then I'd max axes, whirling axes with his ultimate at 6, and then 8, 9, 10, I think you just get stats. And then I would probably either take one more in my third skill, and then max my Berserker Rage, or I just max Berserker Rage right away, because in the mid game, that Berserker Rage is nice, especially like the bash is very strong since it's 2 seconds, and the damage on it isn't bad too. Plus, he runs faster with a level 4 Berserker Rage.
Right. Is that fourth point ever a big deal? I mean, you are getting in more movement speed, which for a hero like Troll Warlord, who generally needs to attack on melee range, I know you could switch your range form. Is that range form, or is that fourth point a must in terms of getting it quite early before team fight happening, or do you think maybe 14, 15 is good enough?
I think 14, 15 is good enough. 10
Okay.
mid speed's not that much considering he's already like 320, and you're usually going to be building drums on him, whether you build phase or treads. So you like for the first engagement, you can just pop your drums. The 10 movement speed will be negligible in my opinion.
Okay, so we're going to be maxing WoW Axis by level 7, and then you take your Berserker at 1, and then Fervor at 4, and then Breast stats, and see as you fit kind of go. And
yeah,
of course,
I mean, I would only do 3 points in stats, though. There's some people I've seen who like skill stats until like 14 or 15. I don't think that's good. I think that his Q and E do add a lot of damage in the mid game.
okay, so that's the skill build. What about the item set?
As a short laner, I think I should go over this like in terms of side lane or mid lane, because I think he should be played as a 1, 2, 3. In the side lane, I think you should get phase boots, just because phase boots just make your laning so fast. Like, it makes you so fast, and it makes your laning so good, and you can move around the map a lot easier with them. And a rush phase boots when you have the advantage in the lane basically means you're going to shut down the enemy laner for the rest of the lane until he gets some sort of damage item. He can spam with nukes or something. And then I think drums is good on him. It helps with that mana issue if you're on the side lane, because you usually won't be building a bottle. I would get a magic stick, but not a magic wand, because I don't think the 3 stats is worth the extra 300 gold. Poor Man Shield's good on him. Orb of Venom's pretty good on him. And then I would go for either a BKB or SMI, depending on the game's going. You can also go for a HOTD, get a Wolf Commander, and run along behind you while you farm jungle or something like that. But I really enjoy mid-game items on this hero, because I feel like he doesn't need a lot of items late game to be really effective. Like, if he just has SMI, BKB, MKB, and the other carry has like 4 or 5 slots, he can still kill that carry straight up. Like, Perma Bastion takes 0 damage. It's sort of dumb, actually.
At the same time, I mean, we've seen maybe a resurgence of kind of these type of heroes lately, with Ursa being a big factor in TI. How is he compared to Ursa in the more I guess, damage output. He doesn't do it as quickly as Ursa.
Well, Troll himself actually doesn't do that much damage in the mid game, I think. But the hero itself, like he does a lot of damage early game because he has nukes and a decent base damage. But mid game, you have sort of have that lull between where your items don't kick in yet, and you're attacking fast, but you don't really have the damage output. Late game, he does a lot of damage because you have the items, plus he has like max attack speed all the time.
Right, and this is not counting the fact that you also give your allies increased attack speed, which is a big part of the
That's
hero.
a big thing about Troll in the mid game, is that your entire team's doing so much damage. Like, they could have a Lifesteal that runs at your team, which usually that hero can just do, he just runs at you, but you pop your ulti and you all just right-click him and he dies. Like, you can have a CM right-clicking him and it'll do 1,000 damage. It's pretty strong.
Off lane. The side lane's more of the carryish role. What about your solo mid? Are we going to see most likely a Abaddon? And it seems like you're favoring Treads.
I would pull him to give him a Poor Man Shield, for sure. And then I think Treads is pretty good mid, just because bottle swapping is pretty strong. You can definitely still go phase if you want, though. The thing about Treads is that in mid, you can often push your lane out and then go farm neutrals, if you're scared of getting ganked or anything like that. And that will help you farm neutrals and manage your mana a lot more efficiently, I think.
Yeah, I'm actually a bigger fan of Treads in the mid lane as well. You talked about the ability to Berserker Rage toggle and, of course, Sweat Swap for Bottle. So you could actually get from very low HP.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good point. The Berserker Rage is like an extra Tread toggle for recovering HP.
So it's actually kind of insane, and you're going to be using Bottle for quite a bit as well. He kills insanely with Rune.
Bottle on a hero that can do a lot of damage late game with a BKB is also incredibly powerful, because you get a haste or a DD in your bottle. You pop BKB, you pop your rune, you run at them, you kill everyone. Like, you actually just kill everyone with a DD on Troll.
It seems like he's actually more successful in the mid lane, at least from our dairy crafting discussion.
I would say that he is, but that's only if you can get him a good matchup. Like, you don't want him in a bad matchup at all. Because
what is a good matchup and what is
like,
a bad one?
I think that he would beat a Puck pretty easily. Heroes that can't really harass him from lane when he has a Poor Man Shield.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, I actually want to try him versus OD. I don't know how he'd do versus OD. He definitely has the base damage to do it.
And Poor Man Shield helps out. Mana doesn't care too much. Do you have to adjust your skill build a little bit? You still want your nukes, right?
I think you still want them for the mid game. They're just too strong to give up.
Okay.
And he can just go jungle and stuff, but I'm not too sure on that. But probably like I don't even know who's a bad matchup for him. Maybe like a Lone Jude could do pretty well, but
Queen
the
of Pain,
Whirling Axes, maybe Queen of Pain. But when she Shadow Strikes you, you can always Whirling Axe her back if you play it well, because Shadow Strike's cast animation is pretty long. But yeah, probably Queen of Pain.
Okay. Well, Queen of Pain is generally the bane of a lot of supplements, but
for sure.
Before we kind of exit the item discussion, we always see Troll Warlord goes for a lot of Shadow Blades. What's your thought on that particular item on Troll?
I think it's terrible.
Why is that?
Troll.
You get to come out of nowhere and kill a support with your...
I mean, okay, it's a good pub item, I guess, but honestly, I'd rather get a Blink.
Okay.
After like a BKB +1 item, if you really want to do something like that. Like, Shadow Blade, the damage is mediocre. I guess he's not really the best Shadow Blade ganker. Like, a lot of heroes you get Shadow Blade on as good as like Nature's Prophet. You have a Shadow Blade, you have a Hex, anyone dies basically, because you TP somewhere, you Shadow Blade, and then you Hex them, someone comes.
He has Berserker Rage Bash, man. That's a Hex, right?
I mean, if you bash them, if you are a Bash Lord, then Shadow Blade's not that bad, I guess. And it's not too bad if you're very far ahead and say you have a Nature's Prophet on your team that's crippling their supports by blocking their polecap, because then they won't have money for sentries. And Shadow Blade cripples them further.
Situational item.
Situational,
sometimes
more on the side of don't get
than
get, I think.
All right, fair enough. So final question for Troll Warlord before we move on to other heroes is, what do you think this hero is going to catch on? Now obviously a lot of these are trend based, sometimes heroes are strong enough and then they don't catch on, and sometimes heroes are not strong and it gets overplayed. Where do you think Troll falls in terms of the spectrum?
I think that Troll Warlord will get picked a lot. There are a few things that make me think this. Like, one, a lot of the time the metagame is like split push or tanky carry. Like TI, we had like Alchemist, Lifesteal, DK, and a lot of the shiny skins, for example. And Troll Warlord's just extremely good against those because they're not so tanky when everyone's attacking with 150 IAS or something.
Right.
For split push, he's decent at pushing out lanes, he's fast, and he's sort of a lane dominator, I think, which is a huge plus for any hero.
I mean, most heroes now, they select at least on the side lanes as carries. could
Yeah.
definitely assist the support to get kills. We're talking about Lifestealer, we're talking about Alchemist, and Troll definitely fits the ticket as a similar
Yeah,
hero.
for sure. And even on mid, like if Troll's ahead, he crushes his lane. Like they can't touch CS just because his animation, his base damage is so good. He has really high armor because his I forgot to mention his Berserker Rage gives you plus armor. I think.
Does it?
I think so. I think it gives you plus 2 armor.
Let's see. All right, bonus damage 15, bonus HP 100, bonus armor 3, bonus movement speed.
Oh, 3 bonus armor. Okay. Well, then he's like Naga Siren armor with a poor man shield, and he's impossible to kill.
Cool.
Like,
all right.
The hero's just good.
We're gonna be seeing Troll quite a bit in the coming days.
Yeah, he ruins Dota. He actually ruins Dota.
I'm not sure. Well, we'll save that discussion for another day.
Hit R, kill everyone.
All right, let's move on to a hero that I don't think it's gonna be seeing a lot of play. Is Abaddon, which we all know and perhaps hate or love from Dota 1. He is to me a better version of Omni Knight at the same point, but I'm guessing teams are going to be trying to play him as a support or maybe even as an offlaner in a sense.
I think he has to be a support.
So he has to be a support. But do you think he is good enough to be a support? Because he's defensive in nature as a support. His best spell, Aphotic Shield, is very, very similar to Shadow Demon's Disrupt in terms of being able to get your carries out of the way. Now, obviously, it works very different in terms of debuffing a stun. Aphotic Shield allowing the carry to immediately move away from a stun, whereas Shadow Demon Disruption a lot of times set your carry up for even more stunnage afterwards. Let's just talk about him as a support. A melee support traditionally has never actually had great successes, so what do you think about Abaddon as a hero on the competitive scene?
I don't think he's too bad, but I don't think he's like the best coming into the scene. He might get picked some games, but he definitely won't be picked or banned every game. His main weakness is that his cast point is just so long, so you can't really use him as a Shadow Demon to counter initiate or something like a Bat Rider. If Bat Rider blinks in and grabs someone force sets him, there's no way you're casting shield unless the Bat Rider screws up.
I don't think SD could also cast against.
No, I think SD should always be able to get his disruption off.
Blink against Blink Lasso and Force.
Yeah. If the SD's in position, like swap or something. I think that it happens a lot.
Swap's a lot faster than all of these.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I shouldn't say SD should always be able to, but I think that more than half the time, the SD should be in position and his disruption should already be clicked on the hero.
Okay.
And ready, so it's not that bad.
So Aphotic Shield has a 500 cast range. That doesn't help too much with him being in position.
I mean, it used to be like 300 or something when they changed him,
yeah.
But I actually didn't know they buffed it to 500. So
there was a patch where he had 800 cast range on Aphotic Shield, and he was.
Oh yeah, and if Death Coil was like 300 range or something stupid, and yeah. I mean the Abaddon. I don't know how you're actually supposed to say it. I know you're saying it right.
Abaddon?
It's not Abaddon. It's like
Abaddon?
Abaddon. Yeah. But I always say Abaddon, so I'm just gonna say that.
Apparently, what I've heard, one of them is actually the correct pronunciation, and then the voice actor just said it the other way.
Oh.
So I don't even know what's right or wrong anymore.
Okay. Well, I have no idea. Anyways, Abaddon
just say whatever
is
you
really
want.
good in long team fights. The nature of the hero is just very good in long team fights, and he's a hard support to kill, obviously, because of his ultimate. But his third skill, I think, is sort of useless.
As a support.
Frostmourne. Yeah, it's pretty useless. And he's not the best at zoning people in lane, like in a 3v1 or something like that. Or in 2v1. But if you pair him with someone like a Weaver, it's actually incredibly annoying. Like, something like a Weaver, Abaddon top short lane, and a 3+1 long lane or something like that. Like, that will be the most annoying lineup to deal with.
You also don't have any
stuns.
stuns.
The OD mid.
You also don't have any stuns.
You don't need stuns when they can't kill you.
Well, you can't kill them either, right?
Yeah, I mean, something like that.
Okay.
For example, though, like a lot of heal or tankiness. I really do like him with Weaver though.
Okay. So we might see him as a niche pick from time to time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, his heal is actually very good. It's a 5 or 6 second CD. I think it's 5 now. I think they buffed it from 7 or something. I don't know. His heal is actually very good, and especially since when you're in your ultimate, you cast your heal, you heal yourself extra 125, because your ultimate negatives the damage or whatever.
Do you know if you can still deny yourself with your heal?
Yes, he can. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Mist Coil has a 800 cast range and a 5-second cooldown, and he heals for 25. Also damage or sorry,
Wait,
two
what is it called now?
mist coil.
It's called Mist Coil?
Because Death Coil was on the Death Knight,
Blizzard, yeah.
so you
Mist
can't
Coil,
take
okay.
it. Mist Coil.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it heals and damage for 250, and then you take 125 damage for 75 mana, which is not too bad. Now, any possibility of him playing something like a Suicide Lane? Does he have the Aphotic Shield plus his Frost Sword? Maybe get a Boots, get a Stout Shield, and
Get a Boots and a Stout Shield. I mean, you'd have to start with Stout Shield and get pooled 2 sets for that. And if you're going to do something like that, I think Clockwork's just a better option.
okay.
I don't think he really does much on the offlane. I mean, he's good with levels, but he doesn't need so many levels. He needs level 9. He doesn't need like level 15. So I think he's better support than offlane. I mean, I haven't tried it at all.
I definitely agree with you, but Curse of Avernus is just like it does everything, right? It slows. It can increase your movement.
Is that his third skill?
Yeah, his third skill, Curse of Avernus. It gives you bonus attack speed, you go bonus movement speed. You play those pup games where you just go carry a Abaddon.
Well, I mean, he's very good at punch when you go SMY, Orb of Venom,
right.
Sound. No, you know SMY slow and Sound slow stack?
Does it?
Yeah, so you can get SMY Sanj on him.
And then
that's why Omni-Knight, the best build is SMY Sanj Skady.
Plus DGNR.
Plus DGNR.
Well, I think we have gone off the train tracks. If the hero's not good enough, we talk about pup games and that hero. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of Abaddon, and I guess you are in agreement with that. So let's move on. All right, here's a hero that we're going to see quite a bit, I think, is Elder Titan or Torn War Chief, as he was called in Dota 1. And the reason I think he is going to be seen quite a bit, at least before moving to Dota 2, a lot of the Chinese teams has been playing Elder Titan for quite a bit back in the Warcraft 3 Dota. He has great AoE, has great laning ability, so he's very, very tanky. And more importantly, as you said, in this kind of current metagame, there's a lot of team fights and there's a lot of tanky carries, and his nature's passive, whatever it's called, natural order, really helps out to deal with tanky carries. So I think this particular hero has a lot to offer into the competitive scene.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that this hero is very, very good, actually. I really like him. One thing I want to note about his aura is that I think it's stronger because of the spell resistance rather than the armor resistance. The armor resistance is surprisingly insignificant against a lot of carries, just because it's only their
base armor.
Yeah, from stats and base armor.
Right.
So it's only basically useful against agi carries and maybe like high agi gain like DK or something like that, but DK has enough like plus armor from his third skill that doesn't really matter. But like someone like Morphling or Anti-Mage, oh my god, get like 2 shot.
And Naga.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and a support Naga because that has 18 armor, 4 minutes.
So I think let's actually start from natural order, because a lot of other heroes have AoE ultimates and they are somewhat interchangeable in a sense. So you talked about it being a niche pick against heroes like Anti-Mage, Naga, Morphling.
Oh, well, I think the aura isn't. If you pick him for the aura, then he becomes a niche pick against those heroes.
Okay.
But I think he's picked for, like, if you pick him for the armor removal aura, I mean, because the spell removal aura is, or the spell resistance removal is incredibly powerful.
It's actually a spell amplification, but it's the same thing. Essentially the same thing.
Basically same thing.
So do you call this, I mean, is this your... Do you pair it with Zeus? Do you pair it with Pugna? Are we pairing it with Big Nukers? Or just do you add him into your generic lineup and you make your Crystal Maiden Lina nuke that much harder? You make a Gyrocopter be that much more effective?
Well, I really like him with Gyrocopter, first of all, just because everything about the two heroes is so good together. Like, you stomp them into an ultimate, they're all dead. They have a lot of AoE, they have decent single target with, if you can isolate with Rocket Barrage plus the aura on the Astral Spirit. Ancestral Spirit, just because it's important to note that Ancestral Spirit gives off the Natural Order aura too.
Yeah, the Natural Aura AoE is actually quite small. It's 275, so you basically have to be melee range to be applying it. Obviously, you can let your Astral Spirit out, and of course you could micro the Astral Spirit as well. So it does take a decent size of micro skill to make this hero work the way that you want it to work. But let me ask you the question is Echo Stomp, Astral Spirit, and of course this Earth Splitter, all these big AoE spells, is he somewhat kind of vanilla in a sense? Can't you just replace him with insert another AoE hero, like Shadow Fiend or Gyrocopter or Darkseer or anything? Because why do you need TC? Why do you need Elder Titan?
I think the biggest difference between that is that TC is more of a offlaner or support. He doesn't need the items. He just needs levels, whereas the other heroes sort of need levels to be effective. If a Darkseid charges in without items, he's going to die before he gets his wall off and stuff. He needs a BKB, Blink, or something like that, or at least a mech to be tanky enough that they don't just target him first. Whereas Elder Titan can initiate or deal his damage from an absurd amount of range, actually. You can literally be 2,000 range away from them and get your stomp combo off.
So are you saying he's very unique in the sense that he can play as a support and be your AoE initiator? Because not many other support hero could do that, aside from like maybe a support Clockwork, but that's a dying breed as well.
Yeah, and he's incredibly hard to push on just because his
spirits,
Echo Stomp and Astral Spirit. And the funniest part is like creeps and towers don't wake up targets.
Yes.
So if they're pushing and you 5-second stomp them, sometimes the tower just kills them. It's the saddest thing.
Yeah, if you're chasing away a hero that's fleeting away, and if you get your stomp off with the Astral Spirit and you have like 3 or 4 creeps on them, they're probably dead. So there's a lot of application of that particular spell. At the same time, there's a lot of lack of synergy, dyssynergy, whatever you call it. It doesn't work well with things like Venomancer. It doesn't work too well with heroes like Jakiro and things like that. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Doesn't work well with Bear Radiance either.
Yeah, especially with Radiance. That's the worst, I think.
That's the biggest application. You think he's a 4 or maybe 3?
I think he's a 3 or a 4.
Okay.
He's not bad mid. He's actually very good mid.
He actually gets like 75 base damage if you Astro 4 creeps.
Yeah, and the hero, he gets even more. So, I mean, he's a very good mid, but he doesn't do anything with the items.
Okay.
Like, he does as much as a support with items, because he'll build, like, what, mech flads, stuff like that.
Arcane boots.
Yeah, you don't really do anything. Whereas another hero can actually do a lot with items, and you'll eventually get those items on support anyways as they kick in. Like, you don't need a 20-minute Vlads, you need like a 35-minute Vlads, really. Although it's good. It's a really good item at 20 minutes too. I mentioned a lot about the spell resistance, but I want to like sort of put it, compare it to something. Like, a Veil of Discord is 25% spell amplification, and the natural order is 33%. And I don't know if anyone has ever played like a Veil on Zeus or something, but you do an insane amount of damage with a Veil. And this is even more than that. Like, people are going to get bursted so fast.
At the same time, you got to keep in mind that it has a 275 AoE.
Well, I mean, I think you're always going to be able to hit people with the Astral Spirit. It has a effective 1475 AoE.
Right.
Because you have the Ancestral Spirit 1200 cast range. Freaking gigantic, right?
Yes.
And it can move around. Yes. And it's not slow either, so...
I wonder what the movement speed of that spirit is. Is it the same movement speed as...
I think it's the same movement speed as him. So we're going to see some Mask of Madness. So his spear can run fast.
That is too next level.
Oh god. Okay. Yeah, oh. Compare him out with Centaur. Yeah, everything's fast.
Well, so what you're saying is Astro, and then let your Zeus or Lena to just go to work.
Yeah, anything really. Like, even like the magic damage ones that you don't think about that are AoE, like Kunkka or Gyrocopter. I think those will be the biggest ones, because it's not just a single target amplification, it's a AoE one. And I think you'll be able to hit 2 people with it every time.
Okay, fair enough.
Especially if you have Stomp down, you're able to like aim it very well.
So before talking to you about Elder Titan, I wasn't too impressed, because I felt like he was very replaceable as the AoE initiator, but after talking to you, he is quite level dependent though. So as a support, maybe not having the best early game. I guess the good thing for him is he does have a quote-unquote flash farming spell, so he can still be effective.
He's one of the best tower defenders, so you're going to get the support levels eventually. So,
and also Earth Splitter, it's just good no matter what level you are, because the damage output is 35%.
Yeah, for sure.
Of target's maximum health, so you are going to be effective with the level 1 Earth Splitter as you are with the level 3 one. So.
And it hits through BKB, or at least a physical portion of it. Plus the slow is actually insane. Everyone forgets about the slow because once you hit people with them, they just die. But if they survive, the slow is actually insane.
The way it scales is 30, 40, 50%. And the AoE isn't significantly too big, because, you know, with people with fast enough movement speed, they can dodge away with it. So that's why with AI was talking about compling things with like Gyrocopter, who does give you that slow to begin with. Maybe a Torn into a Earth Splitter will be pretty good as well, so...
One more thing about him on support that I forgot to mention is I played a game against Elder Titan, and I was ganking. I was Enchantress, and I had 2 creeps, and we killed the other 2 people in his lane, but he hit my 2 creeps, all the lane creeps, and our 3 heroes with his Ancestral Spirit level 2, and he 2-shot me. So he actually just 2-shot me. Like from full health or something. He had like plus 100 something damage. It was absurd. Like that hero is very strong in tri-lane still. Even though he's melee. And he's quite tanky, I think. You can CS when the supports come to harass you, you get your spirit out, you call it back to you, and you whack him. He's pretty, like he has 3 base armor, I think.
606 base HP and 3 base.
He has 606 base HP.
He's like Spirit Breaker. So
yeah, that keeps making me think that he's a very good support because I think that he's good in tri-lanes. His spirit makes him fast enough that he'll actually be getting those hits off too. Maybe we'll see some Spirit Breaker, Torn Chief, and double melee supports because those hero togethers are actually very good. Like you can kill anyone with, you just charge them and you ulti on it, and they're dead.
And if your carry is getting harassed, they just sit back and watch.
And then no, they charge in because they have like 1400 HP together in total at level 1.
I guess so.
Like, but no, I don't think we'll actually see that. I just want to see that.
Well, you could run your team in MLG and you know.
Torn Chief and off lane with the Spear Breaker support.
There you go. Bad. All right, so let's move on from TC and or Elder Titan and talk about our last hero, Centaur War Chief, and that change on his ultimate. I'm talking about the one that it gave everyone movement speed and then the collision stun versus giving everyone movement speed and collision slow is what I believe is he cannot break into the competitive scene with that ultimate.
I sort of disagree with that. I mean, the stun was nice, but
the stun was insane.
It was insane. Sorry, the stun was insane.
Okay.
It was OP. Completely OP.
Yes. Good that we agree.
But it's still a good skill. Like, anything that's global that can turn around a gank completely is a really good skill. Plus, in teamfights, it's just so chaotic and you can't kill their supports.
Okay. It feels like... It feels very like Silencer's Global in a sense. It's an ultimate that doesn't do anything if you don't use it in the proper time. Like, if you global in the wrong time, it's just a useless spell. Now, obviously, it does, you know, slow and...
I mean, this one's pretty hard to misuse because...
No, a lot of time it is. How many times have you... Or maybe I'm just talking a lot about my teammates in pubs using it. Like, you use Stampede to initiate, you charge in, and they pop the BKB and they kill you. You're like, oh, that doesn't work. Or a lot of times you use Stampede and the Rubik just steals it from you because...
Okay,
you know,
well, that's one thing. Rubik is very good against Centaur. It's very easy to steal. But, I mean, I can definitely see Centaur in some sort of a push-oriented strategy. Like, think about something like, I guess like a DK Centaur. DK mid, Centaur short lane. Well, actually, I played against this once where Centaur rushed the heart. And DK just rushed a BKB. And they literally just hit our tower.
And then if you defend, they would just press Stampede and just run at you and kill you. Is that the idea?
They did, like, in order to defend, we couldn't just, like, poke him. We actually had to full-on commit. Because Centaur is at full health, and if we poke at him, return hurts. With a heart, especially. And once we're fully engaged on them, like, once we're committed, that's when Stampede has the best effect. Like, Stampede, it's not really an initiation spell, because you're basically wasting an entire spell to catch up with them for their team. It's so good as a counter-initiate spell. Which I guess a lot of spells are like that.
Okay, so that's why, I guess in my pub experience, when you're initiating with Stampede, you're doing it wrong. And I guess this is not exact... It can be your kind of get away your Naga Siren Sleep and then run away spell. Like, it's actually fairly effective in that as well. But I think the situation where you describe it is probably the best, where perhaps your very tanky Centaur gets jumped, he pops Stampede, the rest of the team shows up, and then you just go the other direction.
And I just can't wait to see like a base siege with a Centaur that has a heart and one other strength item, and he just faces backwards away from their tier 3, and the tower hits him, and he's slowly killing the tower. And if they go on him, his teammate can just force zap him, so he's invincible. I just can't wait to see something like that.
I see you have put a lot of thoughts in that.
Yeah, I want to see that.
So,
like a 2-heart Centaur just facing away from the tower. Impossible to kill.
And you're not gonna... Yeah, that's insane.
That does a lot of damage to the tower.
Actually, how do you beat that?
I don't know. You have a range carry with a BKB who just kills him.
I think we might see the return of the Necrolite. Maybe. Not really.
Okay, Necrolite's
okay.
terrible.
Alright, let's talk about Hoop Stomp and Double Edge. I think what you're seeing him as is a one row.
Yeah.
And traditionally, a Centaur in a one row, I'm talking about back in Dota 1 days, he's your kind of you farm your Blink Dagger, farm a Vanguard, and be your frontline suicidal
I
initiator.
remember going like Vanguard Radiance on him.
Okay, but no. I think from what you're describing earlier with things like Hearts,
Oh, yeah.
Vanguard, Radiance, going for bigger item is probably the better way to play him now. You're not as reliant on the Blink Dagger, or do you think it's still a very much so needed core?
I think that it depends on your strategy. If you're going for a push strat, you don't really need a blink because they can just initiate on you when you're pushing. But most games, I think you need a blink dagger, and he's very good with actually just like an armlet and right clicking people as well because he has like he has PL strength gain, PL's agi gain as strength gain.
4.2.
Like, it's like almost 4, I think.
I will check on that. I don't think it's for 3.8. Close enough.
Yeah, it's really high because when they changed his ultimate, they buffed his strength gain a lot. So like he's very good with levels too and just fighting. And I don't really think he's like the old Centaur where you can just ignore him just because double edge is very strong now. Its low cooldown means that if you don't kill him eventually, he's going to kill you because he has a 400 damage and nuke every 8 seconds.
Right.
AoE. In AoE. Yeah. Small AoE, but still AoE. And it often does hit more than one person. And his stun is still incredibly powerful. It's so long.
2.75 second duration. A ton of damage, actually. The damage has been getting increased quite a bit. Big AoE as well. I mean, how does he compare in the laning stage as a burst damage dealer? Because I imagine he's going to be your farmer and perhaps a protected tri-lane. And if you're dealing with offensive tri-lanes, how does he... Is he, in a sense, like an Ursa? Or do you think he's better in Ursa in the laning stage? Because I see him very similar to as an Ursa in terms of being able to dish out damage.
I think he's better than Ursa in the laning phase. He has a stun and stuff. And I think he's a bit more tanky, I'm not sure. He has lower armor for sure, but I think he has higher HP.
Alright, I'll check for you. 587 starting HP, and his starting armor is 3.1, which is not bad. What the hell is with these high armor strength heroes?
I mean, his agi gain isn't that bad either, I think, so it's not like he has low armor throughout the game. If you pair him with like something like a Rubik, whoever gets lifted is basically dead. Unless they have like a Shadow Demon or something. And then even after you kill that person, you're still tanky enough, so it's not like they're going to be killing your people that much, because you're still in the front lines with this Stout Shield, 600 HP tank with a AoE stun and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, he's really good if you can pair him with like someone in a 2 or 3 role who can farm into the mid late game, because Centaur does fall off. So, while I think he sort of needs to be laned as the farmer in a dual or tri-lane, I don't think he's that good mid, even though people keep telling me he can go mid. I actually don't know. I've never really played that much.
Feels like he just get owned.
I think he beats like Puck, because he has decent damage and you get returned, and if Puck hits you, then Puck gets hurt for more or something. You can spam all waves. You can farm neutrals.
I kind of see him as an offensive tri-lane. Play him as your 3.
I don't know if you can aggressive tri-lane him. His stun is a bit weak at level 1 still. I guess it's not that bad. I'm looking at it now. It's 2 seconds, 100. That's actually better than I thought it was. I thought it was more like Slaughter stun, where it's scaled higher.
Just go Veno Sven's Centaur.
Yeah, that would be strong actually.
Can't go wrong, right?
Well, Veno plus anything is pretty much strong.
Well, you gotta set that up.
But I really do like him in push lineups where you build a heart on him and you right-click towers and they have to initiate on you.
Well, we pretty much discussed this hero to death. I think I don't think we need to go over a skill build or item build. Or skill build is just max hoof stomp and double edge. You max double edge first for the higher damage. In certain situations, you pick an early point to return for laning, and then you go from there, right?
Yeah, and don't jungle him.
Don't jungle him.
Don't jungle.
Seems like you have bad experiences with jungling Centaur.
It's so slow.
Have you never tried the random go for gauntlet?
For gauntlet.
Return? Jungle? Come on.
You guys Stout Shield for gauntlet?
Yeah.
Is it fast?
No, I never tried it. It sounds terrible. I'll try it later.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. Next time I render in Centaur, I'll try it and then lose a game, and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, that's going to be our quote-unquote patch log analysis of all these compare heroes. Last things, I think I opened up this talk with you with what you think as the most viable hero out of the four. Is your opinion still staying with Tro, or have our discussion changed a little bit?
I really do like Troll.
Okay.
I think that hero's amazing just because he's so versatile in his laning, and he just adds so much to the team. I do really like Tauren Chieftain.
I'm sold on Tauren Chieftain.
I really like that hero.
I'm sold on Tauren
but
Chieftain.
I still think that Troll's stronger.
Okay. I think Troll's definitely a lot easier to fit in your lineup as well.
Yeah, Troll's sort of you're losing, and then you hit R in a team fight and you win.
Right.
He's
well, at the same time, you could be losing a team fight and then you Echo Stomp and Earth Slitter and they're all dead.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bit harder to pull off than hitting one button because you actually have to aim your spells.
Right, I guess so.
Like, I find a lot of times in Dota, lineups, especially at TI, I think this year, where a lot of time where they were, the ease of execution won a lot of games, I think.
Not to say that people can't execute.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just like lineups with easy execution, you can make 2 or 3 mistakes and it's fine. And a high execution lineup, it's like
your ROTK Enigma Black Holes that relies on
something like that. Like it's you make a mistake, you actually just lose the game.
Right.
Like I don't know how many people watch our games at Dignitas, but a lot of our lineups are pretty high execution, some of them. And we've lost some of those games, we've won some of those games, and people call it greedy, but it's just good execution lineups.
I see. Well, greedy in a different sense then.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoy it. AI, where can your viewers find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at AO_2000. I'm taking a year off of school, actually, so I'll be streaming a lot at twitch.tv/AO_2000. And I'd like to give a shout out to my team, Team Dignitas, and our sponsors, Alienware, Intel, Scan, Multiplay, Twitch, Be Quiet, Kingston HyperX, Killfed, Yama, Western Digital, Sound Blaster, and Mad Cats.
Are you still reading off?
No.
Damn.
No, I did. I memorized it in one of my interviews in TI. I only forgot one. I remembered everyone else. It was pretty good. I had to look at my shirt for one.
All right, that's AEI, and of course I am Luminous. Hope you guys enjoyed this particular video. We'll be doing more as we have different patch. I imagine 6.79 is going to be coming out in the next...
Yeah. And I'm excited for the... You know there's always like a secret hero thing in Dota 1?
Oh, for the 9th patch, yeah.
For the 9th patch. Like there was like the Phoenix and the Centaur or Tauren Chieftain and stuff like that.
Wasn't there one you had to like go over the entire map to collect frogs or something?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what Dota 2 and Ice Frog have in mind for this. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, this is AUI and Luminous signing off to you guys.